Ugh, neither player on the webcam today. Disappointment. Yeah, Cure was powering up there for a moment, Dricket. It's interesting. I haven't watched enough of the World Team League to be able to determine what some of the graphics mean. Some of the players have been going Super Saiyan. Others have just been like, yeah, whatever. So I don't know if that means that the player going Super Saiyan is the presumed favorite, or if that means they are the underdog. I just don't know enough. You don't need a Super Saiyan to win this. You just need special tactics here, and I think Special is going to be able to bring a lot of that. Special has such a unique background in StarCraft, having spent I would say a majority of his career in Korea, but I'm sure that it feels like he's been in Korea longer than he's probably played StarCraft 2, but he has such a storied history, playing a part of Korean Pro League and spending so much of his life practicing alongside some of the Terran greats in Korea. So when you see this on paper, oh, you've got a Korean going up against a foreigner. Sure, you're absolutely correct in that assessment, but Special is no ordinary foreigner in the scene. Has spent a lot of time practicing in Korea, usually favors Korean tactics over his native Latin American region. One thing to note here that the Observer did point out, Special does not have an attachment on his barracks right now. So he is now finally getting the reactor out, but was trying to get a slight advantage. Oh, he's going to actually get a great advantage on this Reaper if he can finally chase it down. He does! All right, so Special's going to have a great advantage here, and wouldn't be surprised to get the Reapers out onto the map and dealing some more damage here. Now, Kier's going to try and back this up by reactoring out a couple of Reapers in response, but this is going to be a scary amount of damage to try and deal with. Using a Hellion, and he loses a worker that's putting together the Stargate. Special coming out hot. It is a slight advantage to Special. I think even just knocking down a little bit of the momentum, it's really important. Almost slowing that down. Not quite though. It's going to finish just in time. Core basically gets out and says, all right, you have bamboozled me. I accept my fate, but I will take out I'll take out one Marine of yours. Oh, did I say Stargate? Whoops, my bad. Starport, my bad. Dude, we had this discussion. Which of the or in what order would you put Stargate, Star Wars, and Star Trek? And despite being a Trekkie at heart, Stargate has this very special place in my heart. And I think they could very easily patch in a Stargate model for Terran. And not only would people be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense, I'll allow it. I think it could provide some very interesting game mechanics. Like, what if it was what if the Stargate pretended didn't exist for Protoss? Imagine if the Stargate was like a Terran Nidus one. I want you to think about that. All right, Special playing very aggressively, but Cure just has so much army here that Special's going to lose access to a little bit of his expensive pushing force. Now he will be able to get in with the Banshee. The Raven's going to be popping out here soon-ish, but I think this Banshee's going to find a lot of damage value. There's not a whole lot here to protect against that. He does now finally have the bio that will shove that back in a way, but at the cost of 4 workers for free. Oh, actually, sorry. Special's the one coming out with a Raven. George just got nothing. Got nothing going for him in that regard. Good block there by Special, not allowing the Reapers any harassment potential or scouting potential. So killing those off right away, that's got to feel good for Special. He's going to be able to continue moving down the path that he wants to, unperturbed. There will be a couple more barracks being produced, so more bio, more mid-game ground army coming into play. And this is what I predicted with these two playing a more standard style game. As we're going to see almost identical looking armies. There is a Viking count. Oh, there's the Vikings special. Never mind. This is almost identical. Okay, both players are going to scan forward, trying to find the positioning of the main army. There will be a Banshee going in to deal some extra damage. And right now, rather unmitigated. In fact, he's just going to pull it back out. That's 1 Marine. That hero Marine pushed away a whole Banshee. Ooh, picking off one of the Ravens with that Cyclone on the left-hand side was a fair amount of positional advantage, but the tanks of Special not allowed to be a part of the fight. They were taken out. Oh, Cure with a great positional advantage here. He gets to keep a majority of his tanks. Oh, actually, but this ended up being an almost identical exchange here. Now, 17 workers. Well, okay, so not identical. 17 workers ended up getting killed. The army exchanges were almost identical. But this ends up being a very rough engagement for Special. He keeps the base, but loses the workers. Oh. Ends up being about a wash overall. So, not game-ending damage for either player. Special's got to feel a little disappointed, though. He's given his opponent a bit of an economic advantage for at least a brief amount of time. We do see 1-1 on the way for both players. Combat Shield is about halfway done for Special, and that will be an advantage that Cure has for a brief amount of time. That Combat Shield's already done. Okay, Cure doesn't quite have a good response for the siege units of Special just yet. And Special going to be able to once again get in with the Banshee to take more economic damage off the top. That is one place where Special has done very well in this game number 1 so far, is keeping pressure on against his opponent to not allow him any economic advantage above and beyond the one exchange that they had where Cure was able to kill off 17 of those workers. So Special able to equalize in a good way. He is now going to try and take a sizable advantage, 139 to 130 on that worker count. Thought about doing a nice little drop, but the Sentry Tower I think is going to have other things to say about that. So instead, going to get some positional and scouting advantage, a little bit of map control. And we can see both players just kind of winding up. Now, Cure is going to take a very sizable... oh, wait, no, that's just +1. Oh, okay. So this actually is okay for special. He's getting his +2/+2 infantry, weapons, and armor. Cure opting away from armor and going into his +1 vehicle weapon. So a little bit of a deviation there. Those tanks are going to be hit just a little bit harder every time they volley. Okay, so Liberator is going to get added into the mix here for Cure as he continues building some of his end game, or his late game rather, army composition. And here comes that standard positional TVT that we were talking about. So it feels like Cure is going to be able to kind of create a nice little concave of this army. There's not that many tanks. Oh, the tanks are going to get seized up here on the high side. They do have an upgrade advantage over his opponent, and a lot of the bio is going to get shredded to pieces. That upgrade really being felt by Special. He does manage to hold on a little bit here. He has a bit of an economic advantage over his opponent, but army size is a little bit lacking. Cure is still going to have a bio upgrade disadvantage, but having the tank advantage, I think, will be very, very important and very crucial. And Special is going to try and deal his own damage here, scanning forward, seeing where those tanks are going to be located. Ultimately, this is just going to be a nice little game of back and forth between these two players. Special's going to lose access to his scouting depot. That actually is going to maybe supply block him a little bit. Nope, actually not the case. But Cure rescuing back a bit of the map control here. And we're full TVT, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have Corvid Reactor brought in here, make those Ravens just a little extra juicy, and both players are gonna have the same brought in. I think this is wonderful. This is a great opportunity, folks, to grab yourself some tea, yourself a nice little morning snack. And we're gonna watch these two rotate back and forth. So at this point, we now want to start looking for slight positional advantages. So keeping an eye on the minimap is going to be very good. One thing to note is that Special is working on securing his 5th base location. Cure's is just now getting out as well. So economically, he should be okay. Special is going to have a window here where he will have 3/3 bio to the 3/2 of his opponent. So we're going to have to see if he decides to tap into that. A great anti-armor missile on top of a majority of Cure's army. does kind of put some interesting perspective here. It's a bit of that positional advantage that we were talking about. That would be one way to really secure a strong positive engagement for Special, but not able to capitalize on it just yet. Planetary Fortress is down and in place now for Special, so that 5th base should be rather secured. It's at least not going to topple over to a weird fringe engagement. Some good back and forth Viking volleys. I think it's always fascinating to watch how each group of the units kind of vouch for each other. The Vikings do a nice job of covering for the medevacs. The medevacs do a nice job of covering for the Marines. The Marines do a nice job of covering for the tanks. And the tanks do a nice job of just covering. It's the circle of Terran. Okay, Kier's going to be able to come in from a couple of different sides here, and this is going to be a nice little surround. The Vikings actually not even being needed at this point. Tank positioning is really, really strong. Special taking the lesser engagement between the two. We do see building armor being researched and finished up here for Cure, so any pushes across the map, especially into those very bulky and defensive planetary fortresses, will not be available. And now Cure's going to be able to work up the gut here, finally getting on top of a little bit of the production. This is a scary push potential moment for Cure. Special needs to find a way to lock this down and in place, and he does have 3 tanks in a good position to really work this choke. Supply-wise, it actually ends up going out very well for Special. Core takes a little bit more damage than he, I think, was anticipating. It's not a lot of bio. In fact, it's 0 bio in the production for Cure. Cure's focusing on that Viking count, the Raven count, getting a few more tanks. Haven't even seen Marines being brought in. And look at the difference there. The economic advantage weighing very heavily in Special's favor. I mean, 2,500 per minute income for Special. Now, Cure is starting to fall behind here a little bit. The Marine count is drastically low, and everything else is almost dead even. So Special making this work here in a very strong way, but Special's going to be coming around the bottom side here with a nice little army, trying to get a good surround. The tank's going to be caught in the center here. Will that be enough, though? The Marines are targeting down Vikings, but all the tanks on the ground do end up falling, and Special has gotten the positional advantage that we were looking for. It was one engagement. It always seems to be that way in TVTs, and Special has found the advantage he was looking for. He doesn't want to get wedged up on that ramp, though. Needs to get those tanks forward so the Marines can come forward and help out with the air attack. There are going to be a couple of tanks available on the ground to help with that defense. The Vikings have been shot out of the sky here for Special, so Special has to be careful here. These tanks are going to be unsupported by any other ground or air units. But picking off one of those orbital commands is going to be very, very crucial here in helping with this. Meanwhile, units streaming across the map. The Vikings are going to get landed, though, and Special is easily going to be shut down here. Very scary moment for Cure that Cure is able to recover from, and Special, I think, is going to try and find a way to keep pushing if he can, but I mean, without any medevacs in this mix and a small amount of tanks, he's not in a position where he's going to be able to throw that away. And immediately look at the difference here. Suddenly, Cure able to wrestle back a little bit of that economic advantage, but I don't believe it's going to be for very long. The mule count for Special should be returning rather quickly. But yeah, the Liberators are going to be a very scary part of Cure's army here, as he will have every chance to be able to zone out these tanks, picking off a tank here, a tank there. Good lockdowns here by the Ravens. The Ravens are going to get their full value. No tanks in the mix means these Marines are going to be able to engage just fine, but the tanks have not been targeted on the right-hand side. They are going to find a little bit of damage here, and Special, once again, does get a pretty decent engagement. He's going to have to leapfrog his way forward. Now we do finally have some medevacs on the side of Special, so that will have a little more push value to it, but the Marine count is rather evened out. The tank count, though, 8 tanks for Special to the 2 tanks of Cure. As long as Special can continue to maintain his economic advantage, I think he will be able to build up maybe 1 or 2 more times and make a strong push into the heart of Cure. We're at the 22-minute mark. This is exactly what I anticipated. I knew this was going to be a really good back and forth TVT. So props to these 2 players for making us just a beautiful TVT. Okay, trying to get the setup here on the tank positioning, offering some good cover, shutting down one of those tanks. Looks like there's going to be a hit squad on the left-hand side. Ooh, and it might be intercepting a push that's going out as well. All those tanks need to get secured, though. Will they be able to get secured in time? Yes, I think they absolutely will. That's going to try and level things out. But unfortunately, not going to be enough. So what's up, KJ? Thanks for joining us here in the Alpha X stream. Really do appreciate you. So where this once looked very scary for Cure, Cure is now securing himself a little bit of an advantage once again. These absolutely devastating disruption matrices holding Cure hostage in his own positioning. So Special just playing very, very cautiously and patient. Exactly what he needs here. Wants to give his team an opportunity to keep a chance on the table to win. Giant stem forward is going to pick off a lot of those Ravens. Big anti-armor missile going to shred through the bio here. Special's going to have to back off, but Cure comes away with a huge engagement advantage here. 194 to 166. He's dropped his opponent 44 army supply. It's a wild back and forth engagement between both of these players. If we take a look at the exchange there, much better gas advantage here for Cure at this point. The constant scanning for me is just iconic. Oh, losing all of those medevacs. That's a mistake that's going to be hard to recover from. Yeah, I think Cure's going to shove on forward here. He's got the tank count that he's looking for. He has Special on the run. Special's army is only now coming up to reinforce from the bottom side of the map. These tanks should be able to wedge right on in, and this is going to be a devastating position to try and recover from. Special needs to find a way to engage this army, but how do you? There's no good way to surround. This is starting to look like a really bad situation. 20 workers have gone down. And now suddenly, Cure in a very, very good position here. Tanks are going to get refocused. A couple of disruptions go down. Interference matrices, actually. I keep calling those wrong. Game 1 goes to Cure. Had the opportunity to be able to cast early this morning. I'm very excited for that chance. So glad to be a part of a wonderful team like Alpha X. Now I know. I got the team owners for both Exxon and Psystorm Gaming. And I said this earlier on in the cast. And I'm going to say it again because we talked about the Shopify announcement that came out. And I think Pylon Show, if it's not happening soon, it's already happening. It's going to talk more about that, but we have some special heroes in the StarCraft 2 scene, and from all of the community experts to the casters to the team owners to the team players, like we are so lucky and fortunate to have such a powerful, passionate community. So thank you. Thank you for the people that are watching events, that make events relevant and worth putting money into. Thank you for the team sponsors and the team owners for believing in the players and giving up their time and personal capital. I mean, the list could go on and on. I could probably just sit here this whole game and wait to the last 2 minutes of this TVT. Thank every single person that has so much value in our community, and occasionally go, okay, yep, this player has more tanks than the other person. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. And I still wouldn't thank everybody that needed to be thanked. But what am I doing here? I'm just standing at my poppet. Rushi is so nice. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I always want to inject niceness into our community, because the community has given me so much opportunity that I could not have earned on my own. And I know just by working very closely with Sushi, not only recently, but in the past, that being a team owner is sometimes a thankless job. We do have a Banshee coming. And I want to make sure that those people always remember how much they are appreciated, because I'm sure there are a lot of times it's very stressful, and it's very easy to think, man, it'd be just so much easier if I just didn't. And they don't do that. They don't make that choice. They make the choice to continue investing, which is huge. I'm done being gushy, okay? I'm done. I promise. But man, if you want the gushiest episode of the Pylon Show, you get me on there. Get me on there and give me 5 minutes. I'll gush all over everybody. Oh, KJ, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I'm great at what I do. I mean, I've spent 5 minutes not talking about the game. There'd be people screaming at their keyboards, Rushi, talk about the game! Units are being killed! Like, well, it's a nice little back and forth. But I guess I will. There is a bit of a push happening here, isn't there? So Special is trying to put on a little bit of pressure here. Cure has the army advantage and a little bit of the economic advantage. But it feels like Special's going for a strong timing here. He's going to have a Widow Mine back in behind. Oh, one of those tanks can get shut down almost immediately. That's too much. See, this is what we were talking about, Chad. This is where all the people crawl out of the woodwork. Rushi, you didn't even talk about the game.